Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Come on. Thank
Shabbat
you.
Shalom.
Yeah. I know you're tired of this. Yes. Yes. I'm Donna Wiener. I serve on the board as your sisterhood president. Tonight's service will be led by Rabbi Carla Friedman.
Really?
Yes.
Again?
I wouldn't lie. Marshall Letterberg will light the Shabbat candles. Are there any new members?
Does Marsha Letterberg know that?
Yes.
Oh,
She
okay.
has the paper.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes. Okay. Do we have any new members tonight? No? But we do have guests. Okay. Rosanna Brookhauser, please wave. Hello.
Hey.
Yes. And Cassandra Kedzorski.
Close. Was that close? Oh,
Yes.
oh,
Ooh,
around
yay.
here you never know.
Okay, welcome. And we hope that you visit us often and that you enjoy the service. I'm going back in the closet. Bye.
How many cooks does it take for? How many cooks does it take? I know. I saw it. Well, here we all are again then. The first thing that we want to do is make sure that you have turned off your cell phones. Right? Yes. If you don't know how to turn off your cell phone, put your hand up. We'll find somebody who does. We have experts all over the room, available on call. It's true. It's true. Okay. Before we begin the service, I just want to make a statement. There it is. I have to make a statement tonight. The statement I have to make is that 2 weeks ago tomorrow, it'll be 2 weeks, I had the most recent booster shot for COVID. And many of you know that when I get a booster shot for COVID, I immediately fall asleep and sleep for 2 or 3 days, and I did that, and that's all over, and I'm fine. But during the middle of this week, I was in the company of somebody who subsequently tested positive for COVID. Yes. Now, I think that I'm going to be perfectly fine because I'm at the peak of immunity from the booster shot right now. And so I think I'll be fine. I also don't think I will be a carrier and spreading it. But for your protection and mine, when I'm off the bima, I will be wearing my mask. So I just want you to know why, okay? I really don't think it's a serious thing. But we're all taking this more seriously now once again, so that's what we're doing. Now we're going to begin the service as we like to do. I'm going to ask you to put your feet on the floor, both feet on the floor. Yes, here we go again. And please close your eyes and take this opportunity to just settle into the chair and relax. Just drop your shoulders and relax and pay attention to your breathing. Pay attention to breathing in and breathing out. Feel it. Pay attention to it. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you're doing that, I'd like you to think about being in this space this evening, being in this room, which has so many indicators of our traditions all around us, the prayer books on the shelves, the windows with Hebrew lettering, speaking about important ideas in Jewish tradition, the Torah scrolls in the Ark, the prayer books in the pouches behind the chairs, and soon all of it will be on the screens as well. I'd like you to think about being in the company of all these things, and I'd like you to think about what that means for you personally. Being with all of these things that connect us to our heritage. Because as we are here together tonight, and as we are here together every Friday night, we are a Kehillah Kedoshah, a holy community, and we are gathered together for a sacred purpose. And we are helped in that purpose and achieving it by all of the things around us that connect us to our heritage. So I want you to take a moment to think about, when you open your eyes, which part of the symbolism around you will you be pleased to be able to look at right away? Think about that. What will touch you as you open your eyes? Will it be the candlesticks and the Kiddush cup on the bima? Will it be the curtain on the ark? Will it be the words on the windows? Think about that for a moment. Take in a deep breath. Take in a deep, deep breath. Hold it and let it go. And do that again. Take in a deep breath and hold it and let it go. And open your eyes. We're going to begin the service this evening with the singing of Ele Chamda Libi. Now, we have sung it many times to the melody that Noah Aronson wrote a few years ago. But tonight we're going to do it to the Hasidic version, right? Which is the one I originally learned. Everybody learned that one originally, right? They won't know it until you sing it. So let's do Ele Chamda Libi. It's on page 129 at the bottom if you're looking for the text in the prayer book.
And if you know it, sing it.
Sing it. There it is. Look, the words are on the screen.
Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale. Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale. Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale.
Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale. Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale. Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale. Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale. Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale. Ele Chamda Libi, Hosanna ve'ana titale.
A one-person percussion.
Absolutely. Always need that.
Perfect.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to continue now with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. Marshall Letterberg is going to have the honor this evening. So this is a responsive reading and it's on the screen. But you have to read it from the paper because you can't possibly read it from there. I can't read it from there.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov v'tzionu
Lahadli
hadnikner
shel
shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Yes.
And I will start. And it's, come, let us welcome Shabbat.
May its radiance illumine our hearts.
Light is the symbol of the divine.
Adonai is my light
and my salvation.
Light is the symbol of the divine within us.
The human spirit is the light of Adonai.
Light is the symbol of the divine law.
For the mitzvah is a lamp, and the Torah is a light.
Light is the symbol of Israel's mission.
I, Adonai, have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We get to do
Just
this?
leave this here.
Yes, you can. Not that arm, this one.
Okay.
I could help you with that, though. And we're going to continue now on page 123 in the prayer book, and of course the text is on the screen. For Kiddush, please rise. And we're hoping that the folks at home have a glass of wine to raise and join us in Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemase v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat l'chaim. And we're going to continue on page 138 and 139 in the prayer book, and the texts are on the screen. Lecha dodi.
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
On page 144 with Chatzi Kaddish, which we'll talk, Delise, which tells us that we have come to the end of the introductory section of the service and that we are about to begin the service proper. Page 144, and the text, of course, is on the screen. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah B'alma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'meru Yehesh Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'meru. Amen. And we continue on page 146 with the formal opening of the service, the call to worship. It's also on the screen. Please rise. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Baruch hu et Adonai hamivorach. Baruch Adonai hamivorach leolam va'ed. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. And we continue with a reading which is on the screen and page 148 in the prayer book. Let's read together. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, arranges stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzivaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And we have another reading. This one is on page 151, and it's on the screen. Let's read together again, please. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And that will bring us to the Shema, which is on the screen. And it will be on page 152 and following. Please rise for the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti atchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. And we continue with the reading, which is on the screen. There it is on the screen, and it's also on page 239 if you're looking in the prayer book. Let's read together. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and we rejoice. Yes, indeed. And the text that we will be singing out and rejoicing with is on the screen, Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. מי כמוך באלים אדוני. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. מי כמוך באלים אדוני. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. מי כמוך באלים אדוני. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. ברוך אדוני גל ישראל.
And we continue with the reading, which will be on the screen. And there it is. It's also on page 161. Let's read together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety. In your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Hashkivenu.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. העמידנו אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
So I'm noticing some puzzling looks on people's faces because you're singing Malkenu and the text on the screen says Shomreinu.
Our apologies.
No. So I want to just explain that. The original text, the traditional text, does indeed say Malkenu. What does Malkenu mean?
Our King.
Our King, right. The Reform liturgists, they don't like words like that. And so they've taken out all of the masculine nouns, right? So they gave us shomreinu, which is unfortunately in Hebrew also a masculine noun. But the problem with Hebrew is that you have no neutral territory. There is no neuter at all in Hebrew. So it's in the translation that it matters, because Malkeinu means our king and Shomreinu means our guardian. And that's why the text in the prayer book says Shomreinu, and that's why the text that we have sung with this melody before, we've always sung with Shomreinu, but the traditional text does indeed say Malkeinu.
Yeah.
So we'll get them up to speed.
We'll update our version.
You'll update your...
We'll update our
Oh,
version.
good, yes.
It brought back memories.
It brought back memories.
Yeah.
No, Linda, dare I ask?
Can we change it to our queen?
Linda is asking if we can change it from our king to our queen, and the answer in a word, Linda, is no. No. It's got to be gender neutral, not gender different. No, sire is a masculine noun.
too.
That doesn't work. Trust me, I've been around this a few times.
Next time it'll be updated.
I was the co-chair of the committee that prepared the service for the ordination for my class, and I can tell you that liturgy by committee is a disaster. But the whole business of finding gender-neutral terminology is really challenging, and then to make it fit the music.
Yeah,
Right. So.
definitely.
So we've beaten that to death, and we move on. We are going to continue now with the Amidah. Let me say a word first before we begin the Amidah. There is a section in the Amidah for the sanctification of the day. There's part that's the sanctification of God's name, and then the sanctification of the day. And the liturgy for the sanctification of the day can include things like Vishamru and Yismachu. And so I have moved those parts of the liturgy into that slot, and it's not in the place where you're familiar with doing it, but it'll work out, I promise. So just, let's just do it, what we say. So the Amidah begins on page 164, and the texts are all on the screen. Please rise for the Amidah. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agite hilatecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agite hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. נתת להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. And we're going to continue with the reading which is on the screen. It's also on page 173. Let's read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. And now, V'shamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
To continue on page 175 with the text that's on the screen, let's read together. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha be'ira na'avod. And we're going to continue with Ritzeh, which is on the screen. It's also on page 174.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael Utefilatam be'ahava tekabel Utehi leratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El karov lechol korav B'nei avadecha v'chaneinu Shafok ruchacha aleinu V'techezena eineinu B'shuvecha leTzion berachamim Baruch atah Adonai המחזיר שכינתו לציון.
And we're going to continue with the text that's on the screen, or will be on the screen. Yes, it's on the screen. What do you know? Page 177. Ooh, look, there it is. What?
Just threw the people in there in shock. I could hear them going, it's on there.
Just testing, just testing. Yes, let's read together. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lohodot. And we are going to continue on page 179. Let's read together. It's on the screen. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom. And we're going to continue with the traditional text for the silent prayer. If you have the prayer book, you'll find that on page 180, and there are alternate readings on page 181 as well. Please take this opportunity to pray privately.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו amen.
We come now to this section of the service where we have the opportunity to offer prayers for people who are sick. We will begin, as usual, with a list of congregants for whom we are offering prayers this week. And then I'll give you an opportunity to pray for people who are on your own personal list. So this week, we are offering prayers for the following members of the congregation: Beverly Adler, Robert Berg, Diane Berthold, Elaine Bialer, Barry Brown, Andrea Chasen, Arlene Cohen, Freda Cohen, Marianne Fink, Joan Frankel Ford, Raleigh Ford, Batsheva Sarah Gamaran, Richard Hoffing, Liz Jacobs, Carol Katz, Marcia Katz, Verdna Kelly, Carolyn Corlin, Rochelle Lafer, Marlis Markovitz, Bonnie Meyer, Amy Mogill, Paula Newberger, Faye Nippon, Susan Pernick, Leslie Rapkin, Fanny Reese, Betty Sarlin, Jacqueline Schindler, Mark Schoenholtz, Barry Schwartz, Brenda Shapiro, Joe Sheff, Steve Tabin, Norman Toff, Ruth Turchin, Harvey Weiss, Don Zion, Stanley Zarofsky, Leslie Zwain, Amit Ben Shirley, Aharon Gedalia Ben Rochel Itzel, Ariel Bat Rivka, Ariella Bat Shoshana, Chana Pesa Bat Golda, Hanan Rachmel Ben Leah, Chava Bat Esther Malka, Chaya Esther Bat Chana, Devorah Bat Meta, Devorah Bat Ruth, Devorah Bat Sarah, Esther Badana Bat Shena Malka, Henya Rachel Bat Sarah, Heshleb Ben Devorah, Yosef Shmuel Ben Bertha, Manya Bat Fredel, Masha Bat Esther, Masha Surah Bat Chana, Menachem Ben Frima, Mindela Bat Frima, Mordechai Ben Sarah, Moshe Hersh Ben Rivka, Pesach Lev Ben Sarah, Sarah Mindel Bat Chanalea, Shaul Yochanan Ben Sarah, Shena Bracha Bat Yudit, Shena Leah Bat Devorah, Shirley Bat Sarah, Shulamit Bat Zilla, Velvel Ben Hindabela, and Yonatan Ben Chasia. Now I'm going to ask you to take a few moments to offer prayers for the people who are on your own personal prayer list. And as you think of those people, please articulate the names silently. Let's take this opportunity to offer prayers for the people of the Ukraine. And let's offer prayers for people all over the world, including close to home, who are dealing with the consequences of global warming. Let's offer prayers for people in this country and elsewhere who may be dealing with the aftermath of violence, especially gun violence. Let's offer a prayer for our country. And let's offer a prayer for our planet. And we'll go to the music.
Avotenu Avraham רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. משברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. אל נא רפנה, אל נא רפנה, אל נא רפנה, אל נא רפנה. משברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. הוא יברך וירפא את החולים.
So I want to take this opportunity to speak to you again about a subject that just keeps on giving us reasons to address it, and that, of course, is the state of affairs in the state of Israel. And just about every week there is some new thing that happens that is it's staggering to try to understand. The one that happened this week was this. On Saturday of last week, Shabbat, Prime Minister Netanyahu was taken to the hospital with chest pains. And he was kept there, but sent home. He wasn't there all that long. But it raised an interesting question. And the question is this: what happens when the Prime Minister of Israel is unable to perform his duties because he is ill? Now, this is, in this instance, a hypothetical question, but it has not always been hypothetical. And those of us who are old enough will remember that in the year 2006, Ariel Sharon was Prime Minister of Israel, and he had a massive stroke from which he never recovered. And in that instance, Ehud Olmert was the deputy prime minister, and he stepped into the role. And that's what the law of Israel requires. What it doesn't require is the appointment of a deputy prime minister. And Bibi Netanyahu is famous, actually, for never appointing a deputy to any of the roles that he has occupied. One has to wonder why he is afraid to designate somebody to step in. One columnist I read said that he does not want to create the impression that there is someone who can step into his shoes if necessary. He does not want also to give the impression that he endorses somebody in particular as his successor. That way he keeps all of the people who'd like to be his successor dancing before him, right? So in this instance, there is no deputy prime minister.
There's no second in command?
Correct. There is no second in command officially in Israel. Now, this time around, it was no big deal. Netanyahu went to the hospital, and sometime after that, they sent him home with a heart monitor and told him to behave. Isn't that what they tell you when they send you home? Something like that, right? Well, this, is potentially a real crisis, Now, when this happened in 2006, Ehud Olmert was the deputy prime minister, and he stepped in and became the prime minister, actually. But it was a very odd situation because you may not remember this, but Ariel Sharon had just created his own party. He broke away from the party through which he rose to the position of prime minister, created his own party called Kadima. He was part of the Likud bloc, and he broke away. And Olmert was part of the Kadima movement, but the Kadima doesn't exist anymore. And subsequently, Ehud Olmert spent some time in prison. This is a thing they do in Israel with prime ministers every once in a while. So this is a really tricky situation because the issue is if Netanyahu has to be removed from office by virtue of the charges against him, and if he's convicted of those things, who steps in? And there's no answer to this question. Because as you will remember, there is no constitution in Israel. And so there are a few significant gaps in the way the country is operating. This is not even a good way to run a railroad, let alone a country. So that's one of the things that's been going on. The other thing is that just before Netanyahu went into the hospital, he had been ramming through the Knesset his agenda, which is to change the way the Supreme Court justices are appointed, and also to change the scope of the authority of the Supreme Court. And this is getting terribly close to reality now. In the parliamentary system, a bill like this has to be approved in the parliament 3 times, and 2 readings have already taken place with approval. And the last one is coming up by the end of this month. So this is really, we're getting right down to it. Now, you may have heard that there have been ongoing demonstrations in the streets. They have increased over the last little while. And then there's been another wrinkle, which is that a significant proportion of the people, the men who are in the Israeli military on reserve duty, have already resigned from the reserves. Some are threatening to resign, and some are promising to resign. And this is a serious issue for many reasons. If the reading, the 3rd reading of this bill goes through and this becomes the law of the country, then what happens is that the Supreme Court will lose its capacity to put the brakes on the legislature. That's, we in this country we talk about checks and balances, right? Well, they don't have them built in because, of course, there's no constitution. So the Supreme Court, over the years, has taken to itself the responsibility of holding the government accountable. But if the 3rd reading of the bill goes through this coming week, or in the next, 10 days really, if it's approved, then the Supreme Court in Israel will essentially be defanged. It will have no real teeth or power. And this is a serious problem for the people in the Israeli military. And you're saying, what has it got to do with the military? Well, this is complicated, but this is what it's about. Israel is a signatory to the powers of the International Court in The Hague. Okay? And that court can't intervene in a country which has an active judiciary, a responsible judiciary. But if the Supreme Court is disabled by this move that Netanyahu is pushing through, then the court in The Hague will be able to step in. Now, there are charges against the Israeli military for some of the things that the military has done on the West Bank. There are charges against these people. As long as the Supreme Court holds the government accountable, then the court in The Hague will not intervene. But these military people become vulnerable if this law goes through. So this is a very serious issue. A very serious issue. The chances of it going through are very good. Why? Because the coalition so far is holding. And as long as the coalition holds through that vote, it will go through. And there's going to be real chaos if that happens. The demonstrations in the streets are not going to stop. But unless they can precipitate an election, nothing is going to change. Now, here's another wrinkle that is not very encouraging. I guess it's over a week ago now, there were a couple of surveys done in Israel. And the question was, which way would you vote if there were an election right now? And guess what the answer is? No. 50-50. Which is exactly where we've been through 4 elections in 3 years. We've done this before, right? Netanyahu would not win, but he wouldn't actually lose either because of the coalition business, right? So there clearly are people in Israel who are very supportive of Netanyahu and what he's trying to do, and there are clearly people not supportive of that, but it's very precarious right now. And then there's this question: what would happen if Netanyahu were taken seriously ill? Who would step up and who would take what position in terms of the law that is proposed to change the appointments to the Supreme Court and the scope of the authority of the Supreme Court? Who would be the point person for that? Nobody knows, because Netanyahu has not appointed a deputy prime minister. And the Israeli law doesn't require him to do so. Now, it cannot be said that Ariel Sharon was a modest individual. But he understood that he had to have a deputy prime minister, and all of the prime ministers have appointed somebody who's the deputy prime minister, but not Netanyahu. So look where we are with the state of Israel right now. Internally, there is chaos going on. If the men who are in the reserves in Israel choose not to fulfill their duties on reserve, the question becomes, how vulnerable is Israel to her Arab enemies? This is not a small question either. It is widely believed that under that kind of a threat, of course, the Israeli military will do what it has to do. And I think that's probably true. But I don't want to be there to test it. I really don't want to see that happen. So the situation in Israel grows ever more complicated. There have been thousands and thousands of people demonstrating for, I think it's 30 weeks now. 30 weeks in the streets, and the demonstrations are growing bigger and a little less polite. They have been remarkably mild up to now, but the tension is very, very high. So when you are following the news, pay attention to these issues. The question of what is going to happen with this vote is the centerpiece of it all. And then there's the question of who is going to be the person to push this through if Netanyahu is not able to do it himself. And then what happens? What will happen if this goes through? What will happen in the streets? Yeah, there's going to be quite a mess in Israel. So if you were planning to visit Israel in the next 2-3 months, go to the Ukraine. It's probably safer. Not the Ukraine? No? Oh, okay. Sir?
Who appoints the justices now?
The question is, who appoints the justices now?
And what's the proposal, how would it change?
Well, there is a committee made up of different representatives of different factions, which appoints the justices. And the Netanyahu proposal is to change the balance there by giving the current government enough votes to sway things. So that's how it will change. Yeah. The Israel Bar Association has votes on that committee, and there are a couple of sitting justices of the Supreme Court who vote, and there's somebody from the opposition parties who has a vote, and there's somebody from the coalition, and then there is somebody from the government there, and they want to put in enough seats from the government to control the vote.
And what powers, I'm sorry, I just don't know, what powers does the Supreme Court have now in Israel? And what powers would Netanyahu take away from them?
What powers does the Supreme Court have now, and what does Netanyahu want to take away? Because there's no constitution, there's no way to say to the government what you're proposing is unconstitutional, but the Supreme Court has established a governing principle which they call reasonableness. And they hold the particular law up to the standard of reasonableness, and that has been accepted. But Netanyahu's proposal takes that away. And so nobody can tell the coalition, the current or future coalitions, that what they're doing is unacceptable. This means that there is no way to stop building more Jewish settlements on the West Bank. There's no way to stop it, and Netanyahu has publicly committed to doing more. So it's a serious issue that nobody can say this isn't reasonable.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Trump.
The concept also is that if the Supreme Court were disenfranchised, very possibly could cause the crushing of the indictment that's now pending.
Well, that's the elephant in the room all the time, right? The question is this: Netanyahu is currently on trial in Israel, in Jerusalem, for 3 different indictments of corruption, and clearly his goal, his personal goal, is to bring that to an end. And he would be able to do that if he can control the Supreme Court. So that's what he wants to do. And frankly, I think all the rest of it is window dressing, as far as Netanyahu is concerned. I don't think he cares that much about the Supreme Court. If it were going his way, he'd be very happy. It isn't going his way, and he's not happy. And I'm sorry? Deification, yes. The great God Netanyahu, yeah. So that's the elephant in the room all the time. The trials that are ongoing. And he can't leave the country, really, while he's on trial. There was a hearing for one of the charges, and the hearing was conducted in London because the chief witness lives in London and is unwilling to come to Israel because he's afraid he will be arrested by the Netanyahu government. So the hearing was held in London, and Netanyahu, who is the defendant in that, couldn't go to the trial. He sent his wife. Yeah, don't get me going on that one. So the reason that I bring all this once again to your attention is that I don't know about you and the people that you know, but I remember before I went into the rabbinate, when I was a civilian, so to speak, I remember being accosted by my friends, colleagues at work and so forth, to explain what was going on in Israel at any given moment. This should tell you that Israel has for a very long time been inexplicable. But I think that my purpose in talking to you tonight about these things and in recent times has been to try to help you to understand what is going on there, so that if somebody does ask you, you might even be able to attempt an answer. So that's why I keep coming back to this subject. And I strongly suspect there'll be more to say in the next few weeks. And that's all I'm going to say tonight on this subject. So that we are going to turn now to page 586 for the Aleinu. The text will be on the screen. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת אין עוד. And we're going to read together. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Our thoughts turn now to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This Shabbat, we are remembering Edgar Rice, father of Deborah Boyarsky, William S. Einhorn, brother of Robin Kitzmiller, Joseph Robbins, father of Allison Levine, Raphael Levy, father of Jerome Levy, William Kirshner, father of Natalie Meltzer, Jerome Jerry Milstein, husband of Barbara Milstein, Robert Medlow, brother of Linda Mumford, Rebecca Rubin, mother of Ellen Offenbach, Linnea Erickson, mother of Roland Rudefors, Samuel Steinhaus, grandfather of Lynn Safian, Shirley Sudman, mother of Sam Sudman, Nathan Weisberg, Paula Asher, Leo Gray, Yetta Armel, and Leo Stein. And we are counting Shloshim for Nancy Reingold, sister-in-law of Rick and Susie Reingold, yes. We are counting for Bernie Katz, husband of Carol Katz, and we are counting for Bernie Cohen, husband of Arlene Cohen. Kaddish is on page 598, and the text is on the screen. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei dekudsha brechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. Everybody's favorite moment of the service, announcements. And here comes Donna out of the closet again. And I, of course, am here, Donna. I'm here for you as your gabbai.
You're always here for me.
Always here for
Absolutely.
you. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you to Rabbi Carla, Marsha Letterberg, our musical muses, Rachel and Yuri. Yes.
Why not?
Fabulous. And our exceptional and incomparable tech team for tonight's service.
You know, for one terrible moment, I thought you were going to say incompetent. Oh, my God.
No, well, we
No,
had a little moment there. We won't discuss it. Okay, are there any Simcas? Don't expect to be seen on the screen because I'm out here. So I can't switch. But are there any Simcas? Anybody? Nobody?
It's a quiet week.
Oh, yeah, oh, Barbara, yes.
It's my daughter's birthday today,
Okay.
and it's also my granddaughter's fiance's birthday.
Okay, so you have
Barbara's
to repeat that.
daughter's birthday today, and her granddaughter's fiance's birthday today. Happy birthday, all.
Yeah.
Anyone
okay.
else?
Oh,
Carol, yes.
I have a new granddaughter. She is a whole week old today.
Yes, yes, yes. We welcome Bella Katz,
Yes.
Bella Sloan, Bella
Yes.
Sloan Katz.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. She's a week old today. Named after Bernie. Excellent,
Yes.
excellent.
Yes.
Estelle.
My sister's 75th birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday. Estelle's sister's 75th birthday is today. That's
Okay.
excellent. Anybody else?
Oh, no, cut this out now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, announcements. On July 22nd, there will be a Shabbat morning service at 10 o'clock.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, please show up. From 11:30 to 1:30, lunch and Torah study will be held in person and on Zoom. On Sunday, from 2 to 4 p.m., Ricky Bauman will present the do's and don'ts when buying real estate, and it's only going to be in person. And it's something that I want to see. I suggest you show up as well, because you never know. You never know.
You never know. You
Yes,
Never know.
yes. And if you want to talk to Ricky about it, you have to grab her quickly because she's not staying for the Oneg. On Tuesday, July 25th, classes will be held on Zoom, the same for Thursday's classes. On Friday night, we'll be back here. 2 items of note. On Sunday, August 20th, from 12 to 2:30, the membership committee is presenting their second annual new and prospective members luncheon in the social hall. If you know someone interested in joining Beth Israel, please contact Barry Ross or see him tonight in the social hall. And it's that time of the year to renew our Book of Remembrance listings, which are used in the Yom Kippur and 3 other Yizkor services. Delise Axon must have your information by September 15th in order to get the completed book to the printer in time for it to be ready for Yom Kippur. Please see pages 6 and 7 of the August Shalom News, which was emailed to you Wednesday. If you receive a printed copy, you can retrieve them from the table at the temple's entrance. Please direct all queries to Delise Axon, who is sitting right here. Tonight's Oneg will be sponsored by Marlene and Sam Greenberg to celebrate Marlene's birthday. Shabbat Shalom.
Are you done?
Yes, I have to go switch.
I'd rather fight than switch than fight than switch. How does that go? The tech team comes to the sanctuary? What is that? No, take down the cell phone thing, please. Take it down. Thank you. We haven't concluded the service, but we will. We're going to sing Adon Olam. It's on page 625 in the prayer book if you need the words. But everybody knows Adon Olam, right? So let's just do it.
It's a little quick this time.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, V'heit Nasa, V'hefza Kol, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yeh, V'tifara. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chefza Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikro V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'hu Yeh V'tifara. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chefza Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikro V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'tifara. V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'tifara. V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'tifara, V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'tifara. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chefza Kol V'tifara.
You can turn your cell phones back on. And please join us in the social hall. And we hope the folks at home have a nice Oneg Shabbat for themselves as well.
Right.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh.